Part 88. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 872. Chapter 872. What is going on? If the curator takes action, this is simply bullying. How could he be the curator's opponent, but he couldn't just stand here and be a punchline? Curator, I respect you, but I never thought you were such a greedy person who bullies the weak. You really disappoint me. Suchen said it sonorously and forcefully, and was heartbroken, like a child who saw that he was not up to expectations. However, there are two meanings in this sentence. Suchen said the irony in the most direct way, scolding the curator for being a bad person, and still, one meaning is that in Suchen's heart, the image of the curator has always been very tall. It is impossible for the curator to not hear such an obvious meaning. However, he selectively believed that Suchen was very malicious towards him. Moreover, he selectively believed that Suchen was very malicious towards him. At this time, the curator had already arrived in front of Suchen. Although Zhang Qi tried to ease the tension during this period, it was obvious that his approach was of no use. Zhang Qi tried to stop him several times, but was lost by the curator. Several times. Helpless, Zhang Qi followed the curator. It could be seen that Zhang Qi was still very afraid of the current curator. The curator was surprisingly strange today, which made Suchen and Xiao Wu feel very strange, and made them feel even more. The strange thing is that Zhang Qi is very normal about this, just like he is used to it. If this was the usual Zhang Qi, he would have been babbling. Now he looks much calmer. Looking at the angry curator already in front of Suchen, Zhang Qi pulled the sleeve of the curator. The curator shook Zhang Qi away hard and raised his hand, ready to hit Suchen. Damn it! What's going on? Why should I? I have to stand here waiting for him to come over. Why don't I hide away? Suchen screamed crazily in his heart. He regretted it endlessly. But now, regret was useless. Even if he wanted to hide, he couldn't hide away. Seeing that the slap was about to fall when he was on top of him, Suchen could only accept his fate and close his eyes. At this time, Suchen felt a force pulling him to fall backwards. His instinctive resistance was of no avail, and his whole body fell backwards. His body was heavy. He fell to the ground, and Suchen grimaced in pain. He opened his eyes and saw Xiao Wu standing in front of him, playing with a big spoon in his hand and hitting the curator. What is this? Suchen, his mind went blank for a moment. Could it be that Xiao Wu planned to single out the curator for him? This is too surprising. However, the curator knew Kung Fu after all. He blocked Xiao Wu's attack with both arms. Everything has been resolved. Although the weapon Xiao Wu is holding is not an ordinary weapon, this weapon can only swim against evil spirits. For ordinary people, the lethality is no different from that of a wooden stick. Evil spirits, Suchen suddenly what came to mind. Could it be that the reason why Xiao Wu used the spoon was because an evil spirit appeared? Do not move, Xiao Wu shouted. However, shouting was of no use to the curator. Suchen, if you haven't fainted, come and help me. Suchen quickly stood up, took out the pillow from his pocket, used his consciousness to instantly enlarge the pillow, and rushed forward. Suchen, Xiao Wu, what are you holding? All this was under Zhang Kai's gaze. Zhang Qi opened his mouth in surprise. He was usually eloquent, but he was speechless at this time. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 873. Chapter 873. You are deceiving your master and destroying your ancestors. What are you doing? How dare you confront the curator? I don't want to live anymore. Suchen, Xiao Wu, stop quickly, or I won't be polite. After Zhang Qi came back to his senses, he saw Suchen and Xiao Wu taking turns attacking the curator. Although they were completely suppressed by the curator, This was disrespectful to the teacher. This is not okay. Although, the curator usually bullies but before facing the two students, they must stand on the same front and must not be bullied by the two students. Although he knew that Suchen and Xiaowu could not become the curator at all, he still had that thought in him. No way. Today is only their second day here. If they can't control it now, how can they do it in the future? 2-on-1 is not fair. I'll make this fight fair. Zhang Qi said as he joined the fight. This is fair. You two teachers beat us two students. It's really embarrassing. Xiaowu looked at Zhang Qi and couldn't help but ridicule. Coach Zhang, get out of the way, it's none of your business here. Suchen looked at Zhang Qi impatiently. Originally, he and Xiaoyu were unable to deal with the curator, but now Zhang Qi also joined in. The two of them are simply trying to escape now. Zhang Qi started laughing while looking at the two people running around. Ha ha ha, you still want to bully your master and destroy your ancestors? That's not right. You should be punished for being so disrespectful of your master. It's pretty easy to hit you like this. Zhang Qi was having a great time fighting, with no intention of stopping. This and Xiaowu were furious, but they had no choice. Although they had weapons in their hands, these weapons were of no use to adults. Seeing the evil spirit was dangling on the head of the dean, smiling at them proudly, but they couldn't do anything about it. One dean was enough for them, and now that Zhang Qi has joined in, it's basically impossible for them, undoubtedly adding insult to injury. Suchen and Xiaowu looked at each other. They knew that if they wanted to change the current situation, they had to find a way to get Zhang Qi to withdraw. Then the two of them would fight against the dean with all their strength so that they could kill Matao, the evil spirit in the dean's body. Otherwise, this fight will be completely meaningless. To put it bluntly, it is not worth the beating for both of them. But how can we make Zhang Qi withdraw willingly? It seems that it's simply impossible. Because they didn't deal with Zhang Qi at all in the beginning. Zhang Qi came in by himself, and it was impossible for him to leave voluntarily. Unless. Suchen and Xiaowu looked at each other and smiled. The same smile let them know that they wanted to be together. Zhang Qi was afraid of ghosts. Suchen and Xiaowu were originally dodging, but they were still looking for opportunities to attack Dean Li, but at this moment they were hiding from Dean Li at a distance, with fear in their eyes. No, don't come over, we didn't mean to. Suchen, come and help me. There's a ghost. Xiaowu, I'm scared too, just hold on. The tone and movements of Suchen and Xiaowu were very exaggerated. If it were anyone else, they would have laughed to death by standing aside. But the person standing by was Zhang Qi. Zhang Qi was so frightened when he saw Yechen and Xiaowu looking like this. He stopped and stood aside. He looked at the dean, then at Xiaowu and Suchen. His eyes kept scanning between the three of them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 874. Chapter 874. I'm fine. I'm really fine. Finally, he pushed his trembling legs to the wall and squatted down. Good chance. Suchen and Xiaowu secretly resisted the urge to laugh and quickly ran to Zhang Qi. Coach Zhang, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Xiaowu quickly hit 120, Coach Zhang was stupid, Suchen shouted anxiously. Xiaowu took out the mobile phone alliance, unlocked the phone, and pressed his fingers back and forth on the phone. Suddenly he raised his head and looked at Yechen seriously. Suchen, you should be sent to a mental hospital if you are stupid. Why call 120? Do you know what the phone number is for the mental hospital? Wouldn't it be better if we called the hospital first and then asked the hospital to send him to a mental hospital? Suchen gritted his teeth and patted Xiaowu's shoulder, suppressing his urge to laugh. Zhang Qi, who was stunned, suddenly looked panic-stricken. "What are you doing? Don't call me, I'm fine." "You just stood motionless and stared straight ahead. We thought you were frightened." Xiao Wu looked at Zhang Qi and said sympathetically while stroking his back. Zhang Qi raised his trembling hand and waved towards the two of them. "I'm fine, I'm really fine." Suchan's eyes confirmed. "Coach Zhang, feel free to stay here, Xiao Wu and I will catch the ghost. This way he won't hurt the dean." Zhang Qi nodded crazily, not caring about his teacher image at all now. Suchan and Xiao Wu looked at each other and smiled, then stood up, and they came to the dean again. "Suchan, do you think the dean is so strange because he is controlled by an evil spirit?" Regarding Xiao Wu's question, Suchan was also puzzled. Probably not. None of the evil spirits we encountered can control humans, and it seems that they are not very powerful. They should not be able to control humans yet. Let's ask the system. System, what level of evil spirit is this? Can it control people? The ultimate psychedelic evil spirit can know people's thoughts and create illusions. Those who can create illusions are only intermediate evil spirits. You can't be mistaken about the system. Xiao Wu was speechless and retorted for a while. "No, Xiao Wu, this evil spirit is not as powerful as we imagined, and the point of the system prompt is not to create illusions, but to know people's thoughts. In other words, everything we just experienced was simply an illusion," Suchen is determined said. "Illusion? Could it be that Zhang Qi and the dean are both fake?" Xiao Wu asked. "I'm afraid it's more than that. Because everything in the cupboard was broken, we were afraid that Zhang Qi and the dean would come over, but Zhang Qi and the dean happened to come over. We were afraid that others would find out, so Li Ying came over. Our purpose of entering the kitchen was to find evil spirits, but we found something abnormal in the cabinet. Is this cabinet really one, or do we hope that there is something abnormal about this cabinet?" Suchen analyzed it carefully. He thought it all looked incredible. Xiao Wu's face became more and more ugly as he listened to Suchen's analysis. Suddenly, Xiao Wu looked horrified. He looked at it with an unbelievable look. "Suchen! Suchen, tell me, is it possible that we were already in an illusion the moment we entered the kitchen? We came in wanting to eat steamed buns, but the first thing we did after coming in was to look for evil spirits, so from that moment on, we were already in the trap. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 875. Chapter 875 A New World. Pet Evolution System. This time it's not true. There is no Li Ying, no Dean, no Zhang Qi. We are the only ones in this kitchen and the things in the cupboards should not be broken. Great, Xiao, we don't have to pay any more. Is this the time for Xiao Chen to talk about this kind of thing? Shouldn't we solve our current troubles quickly? Suchen's words made Xiao Wu curl his lips in silence for a moment. At this moment, it was very sudden. The evil spirit that had been hiding suddenly rushed out from an unexpected corner. Then Xiao Wu was horrified. In his eyes, he penetrated into the center of Suchen's eyebrows. "Suchen!" Xiao Wu didn't wait until he screamed in surprise. Suchen sighed. Suddenly his eyes opened suddenly. When he opened his eyes, at that moment, there seemed to be billions of stars swirling around. Incomparably deep, vast, and unfathomable. For Xiao Wu, at this moment, he didn't even recognize Suchen. That look was like that of a god, too indifferent. And Suchen's eyes slowly calmed down after that sudden change. "I didn't expect that the evil spirits in this world could be used to speed up the repair of flaws in my soul." Suchen thought to himself and whispered. "In this case, while my soul has successfully awakened, I will use the evil spirits in this world to make my soul more perfect." At that moment, his mind moved. The billions of evil spirits in the whole world, whether they are hidden evil spirits in the city or powerful evil spirits in the wilderness or deep mountains and old forests, are all disintegrating into the purest soul material in an instant at this moment. Then they all swept towards Suchen. In just 3 seconds, they were all absorbed by him. Well, this harvest is quite good. Suchen raised his lips in satisfaction. Then, the world began to collapse. Xiao Wu, Zhang Qi, and even the curator in front of him, as well as the surrounding buildings, pedestrians, roads, cars, all turned into pieces. Disappeared. With a snap, Suchen returned to the familiar small world. Luo Shen and the other women were still trying their best to create new small worlds for their husbands. Suchen turned into a perfectly repaired soul filament and returned. The main body. He smiled and asked softly to the Luo Shen girls, "Are you ready for the next small world?" Luo Shen smiled gently, "We are ready. If we continue at this rate, my husband, you will be able to completely repair all the damage to your soul in just a few small worlds." Suchen nodded. Luo Shen opened a new entrance to the small world. Suchen took advantage of the situation and separated a new flawed soul, which turned into a stream of light and flashed into it. Once again, he started a new journey of perfecting the soul. This trip to another world is slightly different from the past. This time, it actually comes with its own system. However, Suchen's soul has been completely suppressed by the new small world and is sleeping deep in the soul sea. Naturally, they don't know this. This self transformed from the filaments of his soul stood in a simple, dark, and damp small rental house. Staring into nothingness in great shock, he exclaimed in surprise, "What? Pet evolution system? I actually have a system. Am I the son of destiny? The protagonist of the novel? Wrong. Isn't this an auditory hallucination? I stayed up all night playing games for too long last night. Is there something wrong with my mind? Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 876. Chapter 876, Why do people live this life? For a while, Suchen, who just suddenly heard the sound of system binding in his mind, was so shocked that he couldn't control himself. After a while, he slowly calmed down. Suchen gradually became convinced that this was not an auditory hallucination, but that it might actually be bound to the system. In fact, to check whether it is real, it is very simple. Just follow the system and evolve a pet. Think of this. Suchen began to sort out the information that poured into his brain after the system was bound. First, this pet evolution system relies entirely on money to evolve. Although pets are bound, there is no restriction on pet types, such as mosquitoes, mice, cats, and dogs, and even elephants and blue whales. But if you want to evolve them according to the levels given by the system, the higher the level, the more money you need. Even the amount of money required for the lowest initial evolution is not something he, a poor second generation who has just graduated, can afford. However, the benefits, prospects and financial prospects displayed by this pet evolution system made Suchen excited. The first one is that the pets that are successfully bound to Suchen are 100% loyal to him. After the pet is evolved and upgraded, the pet's combat effectiveness will be greatly enhanced. This kind of enhancement is even far greater than that of a human being who has undergone rigorous training and has a strong physique. Even a mosquito can theoretically evolve to the point of killing humans. This gives too much room for maneuver. Don't say anything else. Just being a bodyguard or doing something else would ensure that he would have enough food and clothing for the rest of his life. But the system has it all, and it's a standard thing for the protagonist, but it's a bit shabby to be used as a bodyguard. Suchen scratched his head. Although he already had an idea in his mind, he tentatively asked the system in his mind, "Well, with this pet evolution, is there any way to quickly make me stronger or richer?" The system asked in his mind. After being silent for a while, he replied, "Host, when you have an organization or pet army that has evolved to a powerful combat power, or in other words, has evolved to the world's most powerful combat power, what can you do? Suchen save the whole world. System. Suchen or, rule the whole world. System. Of course, when you have the most powerful pet army in the world, and you want to rule the world, you can of course do so. But, based on your current situation as a host, the most practical, feasible, and beneficial role for you at this stage is to use your pet warriors that have evolved to a certain level to complete some bounty tasks in this world, thereby obtaining super high rewards. Reward. In addition, some pets with special evolutionary abilities can also help you find treasures. Bounty mission. Suchen was a little surprised. This was the first time he heard of any bounty mission in this world. But soon, as he often read novels, he also realized what this bounty mission was. At this time, the system also directly explained, "Host, why do people live this life? It's money. It's wealth. It's status. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 877. Chapter 877 Make big money. Choose a pet. And if you want to make money, it is completely impossible to make a serious amount of money given that you currently have no background or ability. Suchen. MMPs. Is this system a disguised form of abuse? It's okay to say that I don't have any background. After all, this is a son-in-law, and it all depends on reincarnation technology. But saying I don't have the ability. Well, judging from the fact that he hasn't found a decent job since he graduated, it seems that maybe he really doesn't have any ability worth mentioning. If he had to say that he was good at anything, he was pretty good at daydreaming. The system continued, and now, the evolution ability of your pet is your greatest ability. Making up for shortcomings will not succeed. But if you, the host, can play to your strengths, you will definitely succeed. And now, pet evolution is your greatest advantage. Based on this advantage, do some things that ordinary people cannot do and dare not do. In this way, you, the host, can truly make big money that others cannot make in a lifetime or even several lifetimes. Suchen was excited when he heard the system's almost tempting explanation. Indeed, if he can evolve pets according to the system's explanation just now and gain superhuman combat power, he can indeed use this as the foundation to make a lot of money. All at once. Suchen felt as if he had been in a stuffy jar for a long time, and suddenly someone opened a door for him. His heart felt spacious and carefree like never before. So, how can one receive such a bounty mission? Suchen, who calmed down a little, asked the system. You don't have to bother the host with this. The system will screen and accept all bounty tasks for you. During the process of accepting tasks at the same time, the host does not have to worry about any of your information being discovered by anyone or any organization. You can open the bounty task list directly in your mind with your thoughts. At the same time, after completing the task, the money earned will also be secretly transferred to your bank card account in a way that cannot be traced in the world, and there is no need to worry about it noticed by anyone. In general, you can rely on the system to host and make big money with confidence. The only thing the host needs to worry about is how to evolve your pet army. Hearing the system's meticulous and considerate care and arrangements, Suchen felt relieved. He said directly, "Then what are you waiting for? Just do it. Follow the system prompts." If Suchen wants to evolve a pet, he first needs to designate an animal. After successfully capturing it, he can complete the identification of the main pet, and then he can use money to evolve it. But now the problem before Suchen is yes. How should he catch an animal? Logically speaking, the most convenient way is to buy a pet and then directly complete the main pet identification through the system. And whether it is a cat or a dog pet, it has certain characteristics. Fighting power. Although some pets with this kind of fighting power are a little bit weak, they can at least scratch humans. Unlike a mosquito, which can only bite people and scratch them at most. However, on the market even the cheapest pet cat or dog costs several hundred yuan. But Suchen's whole body now only costs a few yuan. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 878. Chapter 878 successfully captured the first pet. And I have to pay back the money right away. In other words, he is now an out-and-out loser. Do you really want to catch a mosquito and keep it as a pet? Suchen was silent. It is said that a penny can stump a hero. Suchen weighed the left and right. He also found that the first pet, if it is a mosquito, it is actually somewhat convenient. At least, it is a flying pet. In terms of movement, it is much better than flightless pets, or even ornamental pets such as goldfish. Moreover, who knows if mosquitoes can evolve to have any terrifying abilities. For example, directly sucking a person dry with a mouthful of blood. Thinking of this, Suchen made a decision in his heart. At that moment, he looked around in the simple and small rental house. Although it was winter, the place he rented was dark and damp, and it was still dark and damp. There are a small number of mosquitoes hanging around, which is very annoying. This is one of the reasons why the rent for the rental house Suchen rented is so low. In addition, the lack of sunshine outside all year round is also one of the reasons. No, after a while, Suchen found a mosquito resting on the moldy curtains. Perhaps because mosquitoes in winter are larger, the mosquito Suchen found was a bit larger than the small flower mosquitoes in summer times. But looking at its long and slender legs, Suchen was very doubtful about how lethal this guy would be even after evolving through the pet evolution system. No matter, let's catch him first. Be careful, don't get shot to death. Suchen opened his hands and came to the curtain carefully and quietly. When the mosquito wasn't paying attention, his hands quickly moved forward and closed. Snapped. The mosquito flew above, circled around the entire ceiling in the blink of an eye, and landed next to the shabby wardrobe. Well, the first capture failed. Suchen was not discouraged. Continue to move forward carefully. With the mosquito swatting technique that Suchen had honed over the years, it was very easy to kill a mosquito. But now it is more difficult to catch the mosquito without harming it. An accident caused one of its legs to break. If you had to spend money to repair and evolve it, it would be more than worth the loss. Finally, after about 5 minutes of fighting with the mosquito, Suchen finally successfully captured it and put it in the palm of his hands. System, can I accept it as a pet now? Suchen immediately asked in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing mosquito *1. Would you like to keep it as a pet? Charge. Suchen immediately replied without hesitation. Ding. Binding in progress, binding successful. Congratulations to the host for successfully acquiring your first pet, please name it. It's very magical. The moment the system prompted that the collection was successful, Suchen established some kind of spiritual connection with the mosquito. Suddenly, Suchen seemed to be able to know what the mosquito was thinking at will. And what it hears, sees, and feels. This means I have an extra incarnation. Suchen thought this way. Wait until you hear the system prompts to name it. He thought for a while. Just call it 9527. Naming successful. 9527 is a memory from his school days, used to name a mosquito, which happens to echo the prank meaning of this number. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 879. Chapter 879 Super Evolution. B-Level Battle Pet. Ding. Since this collection of pets is the first time for the host to use the system function, the host will be additionally rewarded with a free Super Random Evolution opportunity. This opportunity is only available once, so please use it with caution. There are also free evolution opportunities. This system is considerate. Suchen was happy. Before evolving, Suchen first took a look at the attributes of 9527. 9527. Animal category, common house mosquito. Owner, Suchen. Combat power, 0.5, weak enough to drop. Suchen was speechless when he saw the description of the pet's combat power as being so weak that it was useless. But then he thought about it. After all, he is just a mosquito. After all, his current financial resources can only use this free product. We can't ask for anything. And isn't there an opportunity for evolution as a system reward? Maybe after evolution, the combat power will skyrocket. Classify according to the levels given by the system. Pet combat levels are divided into 11 levels, from G level to the highest SSS level. There is no doubt that 9527 with a combat power of 0.5 is obviously the weakest G class, and it is also the bottom among G class. According to the evolution cost table, it would cost 5,000 UN to evolve this mosquito to level F, which is the combat level of a 6 or 7-year-old child. Not to mention B level, A level, or even S level. And if a pet can break through C level, its combat power can completely crush an adult human. Once you reach level A, you can kill at will even when facing heavily armed special forces. This is the horror of this pet evolution system. But to evolve to level A, the cost is sky high. It takes millions of dollars. Thinking of this, Suchen said to the system in his mind, start evolving. Ding. Pet 9527 has been selected for Super Random Evolution. This evolution is free and is evolving. Ding. Evolution successful. Congratulations on your Pet 9527's comprehensive improvement. The combat effectiveness successfully reached B level. I'll go. Evolve directly to B level combat power. Hearing the system prompt, Suchen was overjoyed. He quickly looked at the mosquito in his hand. He saw that this mosquito was completely different from before. It was not a change in size. The body size is still the same as before, and it looks like it can be easily crushed to death. But if you observe carefully, you can find that the entire mosquito, whether it is legs, wings, or mouth parts, has become as sharp as metal. A metallic luster was faintly reflected. Suchen thought. The mosquito, which was connected to his soul, immediately flew up with a buzz. The sound was extremely soft, much smaller than the buzz of an ordinary mosquito. But the entire flight control is more flexible. I believe that with 9527's current flying ability, even 10 Suchens cannot capture it. Then Suchen gave it another command. Facing a rotten ball on the table, Apple said, attack it. A very slight voice. 9527 with a flash of lightning, it flew back to Suchen's palm again. And this time, Suchen just saw that the rotten apple on the table suddenly split into two, shook and fell down. Hiss. Looking at the neat and smooth cut surface in the middle of the apple, Suchen took a breath of cold air. This speed and sharpness are enough to cause damage to people, right? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 880. Chapter 880, Bounty Mission. Start from scratch. In order to test the true combat power of 9527, Suchen thought for a while. Then facing the corner of the plywood table, he gave an attack order to 9527. I just saw a swipe. This enhanced little mosquito flashed past the corner of the table at a speed that Suchen could not catch with his naked eyes. Then he flew back quickly, landed on Su Yi's shoulder, and rested leisurely. Snap! Until then, a triangular table corner measuring 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter fell directly to the ground. Suchen picked it up and observed it, and found that the cut surface was also smooth and flat, as if it had been cut by the sharpest sword. Hiss! Suchen took in a breath of cold air again. If 9527 could easily split an apple into two before, Suchen still had some doubts about its true combat effectiveness. Now seeing a plywood with a thickness of more than 10 mm cut off so neatly by 9527, Suchen no longer had any doubts in his heart. If you can cut off the plywood, it proves that 9527 already has powerful combat power that can kill humans. What's more, the real combat power of this strengthened mosquito is not just as simple as its sharp attack. Judging from the situation just now, 9527's flying ability has also been greatly evolved. Ordinary people simply cannot follow its flight path with the naked eye. Coupled with its small size, it can definitely be used for assassination missions without being noticed. Thinking of this, Suchen became a little excited again. Well, let's take a look at its current attributes. I wonder what its B-level combat power and combat value will be. Suchen thought. The attribute list of 9527 immediately came to mind. 9527. Animal category, common house mosquito. Owner, Suchen. Combat power, 1354, running rampant. The evaluation words for 9527's combat effectiveness have changed from being vulnerable to being unstoppable. Seeing this, Suchen burst into laughter. Well, now I should be able to take on some simple bounty tasks, right? I don't know how much money these tasks can earn me. Suchen asked the system to expand the task list for him. The system reminded in advance host, since you are a newbie in the bounty world and do not have any evaluation level, you will only receive the lowest level tasks at the moment. Host, please correct your mentality and start from scratch. In addition, after completing the task, the system will automatically determine your task completion level and score. The score plays a key role in improving your level in the bounty world. After the mission is completed, the reward will be automatically credited to your account. There is no need to worry about the security and privacy of the host, the system will protect you. Learn. With such a considerate system, what else can Suchen say? He directly started to browse the bounty task list displayed in his mind by the system. What he saw in his mind was an interface like a web page. It was very simple. Publish task information one by one. The beginning of each task information will indicate its task level, such as A level, C level, D level, etc. Different task levels require killers with different ratings to receive them. Higher levels can receive low-level tasks. But low-level killers cannot skip higher levels to receive high-level tasks. However, Suchen thought that with his 9527 combat power, his ability should be enough to rank into the ranks of B-level killers. The only thing missing is experience. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 881. Chapter 881 3G level bounty missions. Among them, A-level tasks have bounties ranging from 100,000 to 1 million. For the lowest G-level mission, the bounty is as low as thousands. There are only a few G-level missions, and the bounty has been increased to over 10,000. The level of the bounty naturally determines the difficulty of the task. The higher the bounty, the more difficult or complex the proving task. The most difficult SSS level mission currently does not appear in the bounty mission list. Obviously, top-level tasks like this don't happen often. And the S-level mission that appeared had a reward amount of tens of millions. Moreover, the content of the mission is confidential, and only killers who have reached a certain level can view the mission content in a limited manner. In this way, Suchen also roughly guessed how much the bounty was for SSS level tasks. I'm afraid it will at least reach hundreds of millions or more than a billion. That really means not opening for 3 years, and eating for 3 years after opening. No, it means eating for a lifetime. After Suchen had a general understanding of the bounty mission. Start selecting tasks. First of all, these bounty tasks are divided by region. For Suchen, since it is divided into regions, he naturally chooses the domestic one now. After all, with the few dollars he currently has in his pocket, he can't go on a mission abroad on foot, right? If that were the case, the daylilies on the mission would probably be cold by the time he arrived. Filter by the city where you are located. In the end, there were only 3 missions left to claim. They are, G-level bounty mission, Gangster, the reward amount is 5,000. G-level reward mission, Rich second generation, reward amount is 10,000. G-level reward mission, Profiteer, the reward amount is 10,000. None of these missions are about killing these people. Rather, there are special requirements such as amputation of hands, legs, or annihilation of descendants. The reward amount is also very small. Among them, the gangster's bounty mission required amputating his right hand. The reason is that in addition to doing nothing every day, this gangster also likes to harass women with his right hand on the bus. Learn the bad behavior in certain types of standalone games. Most women choose to endure it. This also made him even more aggressive. He even reached out to the high school girl doll. This can't be tolerated. Well, for this kind of person, cutting off one of his hands would be considered a good thing. After Suchen understood this, he looked at the next task, the rich second generation. This rich second generation also bullied women, and the nature was even worse. He directly used medicine to stun the beautiful girl. Now he has been sent to prison. But knowing how his family operates, he is now on probation for 2 years. Now this guy is still at large and unrepentant. The reward is to make this guy cut off his descendants and destroy this guy's criminal tool. Well, with 9527's attack method, it is easy to achieve this goal, and it is even more convenient than normal people to do this kind of task. Thinking of this, Suchen continued to check the third task, the profiteer. This profiteer is counterfeiting medicine. It is the kind of flour mixed with a little medicinal powder that is harmless to humans and animals. It will not kill people, but it will have absolutely no effect. This profiteer, I thought it was not illegal. But there was a girl who took his medicine and delayed her condition, resulting in permanent hemiplegia in the lower body and incurable condition. Even as this profiteer continued to advertise and sell his fake medicine, this kind of tragedy it will happen again. The bounty mission requires that his legs be disabled.